Such a lovely day in the. Hey, wait a minute. Where's Izu? He must be coming up with the plan with Nanashi again, as usual. Why won't they just have sex already? Whatever. Hey, he left his camera here. He left his camera here. He left his camera here! Let's go! Hello everyone, you know who it is. In today's special episode of Chase Communicates, Izu doesn't seem to be present this time around. No worries, I can do this episode on his behalf. Today, we're going to be talking about the laughingstock of the gaming industry, Sega. Yes, Sega, what was once a threat in the gaming world back in the mid-80s, is now just another game company in 2024. Of course, as the story goes, Sega used to make consoles, and one of the most interesting parts of these consoles were their startups, because unlike most competitors, Sega's console startups differentiated depending on what region you bought your console in. The fact that there's a compilation video out there says enough. That's a shit ton, and in this video, we're going to be covering it all, so let's not waste any time and get to the first startup right away. The Master System is often looked at as the abandoned child of the Sega family, which is ironic considering in Brazil, the console is still supported there. The first startup features the iconic jingle they've used since then. So no people, Sonic the Hedgehog wasn't the first to feature it! It's short, but sweet. As for the Japanese version, it doesn't end! You see, Sega had a peculiar feature for their consoles. If you didn't have a disc in the console, the startup would theoretically loop infinitely. The average gamer would get a fucking headache, and don't even think it's gonna get better. It won't. The Sega CD, the failed add-on of the Sega Genesis, had a startup of its own. But this time around, the startup was different depending on both the region and model of the console you bought. Counting all models, there's over 8 startups, and we're gonna look at them all. First up, the Japanese One startup. The clouds are a nice background. It gives off energy that makes you think you're about to go in on an ascending journey. The logo animating is quite awkward though, and the blue C and yellow D remind me of Sonic and Tails. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Next up, the second Japanese model. This one, in my opinion, is a bit worse. The random shapes in the background are unnecessary. It makes it look like we're about to be taught a geometry lesson. Sonic being there looks like a mistake. And the same music? Yeesh. Next up, the American Model 1. At last, we have a totally different track. The concept is still similar though, just logos animating on a random background. In this case, space. Looks like we're about to go on a journey that takes us beyond the stars, I guess. Up next is the second American model startup. This one is often considered to be the best of the Sega CD startups, and I 100% agree. The music is fire as hell, and the animation is way less obnoxious. Next is the European Model 1. God damn it, Sega! Again with the music? This one is by far the worst of the bunch, point blank period. The logo is so hideous, the animation is obnoxious again, the annoying music makes a return, it just keeps adding up. Next up is the second European model. Do I even got to say anything else? It's just the same as the second Japanese model, with the difference being no Sonic. It's just a CD PNG this time around. Now you may think that's all the regions, but not so fast, because at one point, JVC and Sega collaborated together to make a CD startup clone, the Wonder Mega and XI. There will be two shown simultaneously to not waste time. What more can I possibly say? Those stars were boring as shit. At last, we're out of the CD woods. Now it's finally time for us to get on with the next console, the Saturn. The Saturn is considered to be one of Sega's wasted potentials and underrated consoles, and I can see why. This is also when Sega decided to set up their startup game to Wumbo. What do I mean by that? Well, take a look at the Japanese model. That startup's track is insane. It's loud and proud. Both the PAL and TSC models had the same startup. Here they are. It's way more calmer, but still incredible with the whoosh at the end. And the logo looks pleasant. The next model is yet another collaboration between Sega and JVC, the Victor Saturn, or V Saturn for short. Okay, this is just the same thing, just with the V in less colors. Last but not least, we have the Hitachi Saturn, or High Saturn for short. It's the rarest of the bunch and allows users to listen to music, watch video CDs, and even play karaoke. It was the very first all-entertainment console ever. So no, the PS2 wasn't the first one! Izu's constantly said that this was his favorite startup from the Saturn lineup, and I can see why. The animation is so smooth and great, and the music is epic. At last, we're at our final stop, the Dreamcast, constantly considered to be one of the most underappreciated consoles in all of gaming history. The American model had the red logo, as we can see here. And due to copyright infringement with another European company, Tavola, having the same red logo, the European model had a blue logo. This startup is by far one of Sega's finest. It's mystical and beautiful. But we're not done yet. We have the dev kits to look at for the Dreamcast, Sega Katana. These startups had completely different animations and music, and as usual, the European version is blue. Izu has once said that he actually preferred these startups over the final versions, which I find stupid. I personally thought these startups were obnoxious and way too childlike. But to be fair, that fits his personality. And that's pretty much Chase Maxon! What in the world do you think you're doing with my camera? Gotta go, goodbye! I'ma kill you! Whatever. I hope whatever video idea you came up with better do numbers, people. Because if not, she's gonna get the chancla. Hope you liked his presence. Everything's unhoped. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, I guess. Until then, that's unfortunately what all you get. Bye, I guess. See ya, I guess. I don't know.